The next biggest winner is brought to you in part by...
Welcome back to The Next Biggest Winner. This is our third and final episode from the Vancouver World Resource Investment Conference. We're into the roundup discussion of our show. This is where Allan gets a chance to ask questions of our three guest companies. So Allan, I hand the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. I'll put the boys under the microscope. So first of all, Spiros, you were mentioning earlier that you were moving right from the right into sort of production, and you're saving a lot of What's the rationale behind that? Most companies do a lot of work in the pre-fees and feasibility stages.
Right. Well, we're moving forward in starting a program of test mining right now. It's a past-producing mine. The area's produced graphite for over 145 years, and the rationale behind it is based on the advice and the information that we gathered from consultants, the board of directors, geologists that have visited the site. Our plan is to move forward.
Wow, that's for $1 million, getting cash flow. Most companies have to spend that much money on exploration. That's a pretty impressive story.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. I mean, the test mining program that we're running right now is about a $200,000 program. Ultimately, though, our goal is to create a business for our shareholders that'll insulate against the markets. So we're fortunate that we believe we can get up and running for such a small amount of money. And as George mentioned earlier, it's a very difficult time to finance. And so, by creating a business, we believe we can secure the long-term health and safety of the company.
Plus, you don't have to dilute the shareholders at the lower prices.
Correct.
Excellent. Magnus, you were speaking about your project down in Colombia, and I've been following the mining exploration world for a couple decades now, and I remember in the 90s when geologists were getting kidnapped down there, and someone was kidnapped not too long ago. What's the difference between where you are and where those events have happened in the past?
Now, the recent kidnapping that you're referring to took place up, I believe, in the Sur de Bolivar province, which is probably a couple, maybe 2,000 kilometers north of where we are. Our project is located in the southeast corner of Colombia, and we have never had any security issues. On the contrary, there's lots of military based there by the Brazilian border. So we do feel quite safe, and we have never had any concerns. But you're absolutely right that still today, in certain parts of the country, you have to be careful and know what you're doing.
Richard, you're in an area, I said high-grade gold earlier, but I like high-grade uranium a lot too. I've had a lot of success in Saskatchewan picking uranium companies out there. I've been watching you guys for a few years now. One of the projects that I talked about with George earlier was the Alpha and Fission project, and you said you're at the stage where you're starting to do some geophysical work. Your first run, is that gravity or is that mag surveys that you're doing?
Well, we're starting off with an airborne survey, and it's electromagnetics and magnetics.
Okay.
Now, magnetics is really good for examining the geology of the area, and it'll tell you where the Proterozoic rocks are and the Archean rocks, where the different rock types are.
Sure.
And that's very important in terms of how these deposits are situated. The electromagnetics identify graphitic zones, and it's these graphitic zones that form the major structures that host these uranium deposits. So it's an effective strategy of exploration.
So you're going to do that work first, and that kind of narrows the search down for you, and then you go in and do radiometric surveys?
Then we're going to do an airborne radiometric survey, which examines the natural radioactivity.
So how long will it take you to do the first batch of geophysical work?
Yeah, the mag and EM will be done in a week to 10 days. We're going to wait until the ground dries up a little bit, and because we're just coming off of a long winter. Then we'll do the airborne radiometrics, and then I hope to have a crew of prospectors and geologists on the property by the 1st of July, say.
these are three companies that I'm interested in learning more about myself. I'm always a big proponent of investors trying to do their own homework. I'm sure all of you, they can look up your websites, and that'll be a great way for them to learn more about your companies and call them up and ask some questions, because I think these are three really interesting stories.
Yeah, and on that note, unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there because there are always time constraints. Great questions, Allan. Thanks for being a great analyst.
No problem.
Thanks for the answers, gentlemen. That concludes our third and final episode from Vancouver, the World Resource Investment Conference. Now, this show may be over, but your work has just begun. If you think you found the next biggest winner during this show, make sure to speak to your financial advisor and go to some research, as Allan said, by going to each of these companies' websites and taking a closer look. Join us next week when we have 3 more great companies on the show. Until then, from everybody at the next biggest winner, thanks and have a good night.